Namaste and welcome back to RaGA Candid.
Hello, it's such a pleasure to catch up and to be back talking with you.
After a month.
Yes.
And in this month, we have had around 10 concerts ourselves. Besides that, we have also had the opportunity to listen to a lot of other concerts too. Apart from morning lecture demonstration sessions. So it has been a very hectic but very, very fulfilling experience for us.
Invigorating month. And if we ourselves feel that way, I'm sure many of you who have taken in the music season would be absolutely swamped, perhaps, by the amount of music concerts. Many of you would have probably done concert hopping, at least a couple of concerts a day. Right?
Yes, and so plethora of sabhas, venues, a number of artists, so many ragas that you've listened to, so many different talas, so many new compositions, you
Pallavis.
name it.
Oh my God.
Pallavis and so many different
And I think all
talas.
the music would be like a buzz in the head now. But I'm sure after a few days, it'll all settle down. And certainly the music that resonated with you, that made an impact, you would go back to that music and think about it. And it will enrich you, it will make you feel great.
And of the
Yes.
few artists that are your favorites, who you like to follow, you will also have certain favorite concerts of these favorite artists that you
So
like
the
the best. Yeah, the favorite of the favorites.
Yes. So, one question that arises in mind when we think of all this music and season and concerts is that what makes a concert extra special? What makes it leave that kind of an impact that stays with you for a long, long time?
So of course, it is true that I guess isn't the form of an artist very important, which is a deciding factor as to why you like the concert the best.
Definitely,
Particular
I think
concert.
that is the single most significant factor. The form of the artist, the chemistry between the artists on stage, the way the artist and music flows together in that powerful way. And of course, there are so many variables, right?
Yes, the ambience is one thing, the
audience and the sound system. So many things come together, coalesce to make this concert or this special concert experiences all stand out in your memory is those little things that add up to a concert experience.
But of course, keeping apart all these variable factors, because we don't have control about, over those things.
Yes,
All these variables, there are so many things that we can't really control. But is it possible, Gayatri, that keeping these variables aside, is it possible to come up with a concert plan which will mitigate these risks, or to
Very
guarantee consistency, because we are all as artists looking for that consistent form every concert, at least doing
Create, yeah.
yes, create an impact
With your concert. Again, you go back to your old memories of listening to concerts from veterans, from legends, from great musicians who always consistently left that impact on you through their concerts. Whatever the state of their voice, or as we said, whether or not you are in the zone. Because when a musician is in the zone, anything works. You can make the more bizarre concert list and it will still come together in a very beautiful way because of that magic that is in you on that particular day. But what about those days when it may not happen? That same magic or that zone or that form may shake. It may not hold.
correct.
So is there something that in putting together a list that balances itself so beautifully that it leaves an impact, is it a way that we can glean from our concert experiences and learn from that so that we can put together this effective, impactful concert list?
Yes, as we say, Carnatic music concert is like a bouquet. It's a presentation of so many different colors, different flowers. imagine like a
Yeah.
bouquet of flowers with so many different textures. So you present it in a very cohesive way with different things, different elements working, because after all, Carnatic music has so many layers and such a deep form of music that to be able to do justice to each and every item, you definitely need to think about how to present it and what to present to.
Correct. So a bouquet, a garden of flowers. Immediately, the first word that comes into mind is balance. How the colors are balanced with each other, and to put together a list that is exciting, that creates frequent contrasts in mood, in melody, in pace. So this is the most important factor in putting together a concert list, as to how many layers, as you said, and the variety that you can create, and to bring out as many rasas or evoke as many different emotions and the entire palette as possible
Yes.
through a single concert.
Maybe we can also show a classic combination.
Yes, there are certain
like
classic
contrast,
combinations
yeah.
like a beige and a black, yellow and red. These are all very, very classic combinations, right? So when we select a sari, for instance, that's a color that we want. That's colors that are most popular. Similarly, in music, there are certain classic combinations which create a wonderful impact. One of those classic combinations, I think, Ranjani, that you have in mind is Panturali and Ananda Bhairavi, right?
Yes.
So, if you look at the two ragas, Panturali and Ananda Bhairavi, it is entirely from different family of ragas. There is not even one note in common. So, when you combine certain such ragas together, it immediately creates that a sense of a beautiful contrast when juxtaposed with each other.
We'll just.
Shastra Purana Veda Shastra Purana Vidya Lajebe Veda Veda Shastra Purana Vidya Lajebe Veda Shastra Purana Vidya Lajebe Shastra Purana. So when we do a piece like this, which has Resi Neravan, Pesi
Kalpana
Swaras,
Swaras.
after that just imagine a piece like this. Kamalamba Samrakshatu Mam Shri Kamalamba Samrakshatu Mam Kamala Nagara
Of course, in this combination, there are lots of contrasts, actually, differences that are at play. No, the melody is one thing, the raga is one thing. Of course, different tala, that is Rupaka, this is Mishra Chapu. And of course, different composers, different languages.
Correct. And when you alternate different composers, like Ranjani said, that was Tyagaraja and this is Muthuswami Dikshitar. when you present different composers, you are presenting different perspectives, different styles of music, and that itself creates contributes towards creating a bouquet, which is why there are certain time honored principles that is always followed in putting together a concert list by great musicians, such as trying to select at least one composition of each in the Trinity, uh, or at least two of three. Um, the other contrast that is operating when you sing a Panturali and a Ananda Bhairavi is especially if you contrast a Manodharma laden piece, one piece which has a raga or Neravel or Swaraj, with
Or
just,
all of them.
or all of them, with the standalone masterpiece of a composition, which is presented just to savor the beauty of the composition, and that itself creates a complete change in mood, a complete change in what you're presenting.
Yes, and I guess in the Madri there are many combinations like that. Traditional combinations like Todi, Kalyani, they are very
Different, totally. There's not even a note in common. Shubha Panturali and say a Sahana or a Kamboji, say a Kalyani and a Bhairavi, or there are so many combinations like that. There are also certain combinations which may not be so ideal. For when we take a beautiful composition like right after this sedate, soulful composition, if we sang yet another soulful composition in a sedate pace, like Hechari Kagara He Ramachandra Hechari Kagara He Suguna Hechari Kagara He Ramachandra Hechari Kagara He Suguna Sandra Hechari Kagara. So a Sahana or a Yadukala Kamboji or a Dujavanti and a Yadukala Kamboji, as beautiful as they are individually, they're both Janyas of Hari Kamboji, and combining such ragas sometimes create a feeling of monotony. Even if the listener doesn't really know the technicalities that this ide vandu rendu Hari Kamboji Janyam, they may not really know, but when they listen to it, there'll be a monotony. And it's important to keep creating contrast in terms of selecting your pieces, your ragas or compositions. Even a Hiranmayim Lakshmi, Lalita is very different from Dujavanti. Hiranmayim Lakshmi Sada Bhajami Namanavashrayam Tyajami.
So while preparing a concert list, of course it is extremely subjective. Many people, many artists putting a right list depending on the personality of the artist.
Very
course.
true. This is our opinion strictly. So I'm sure there are musicians who would put a list in a very different idea, with a different vision in mind. So long as contrasts and layers and variety is created in a concert through whatever means, I think it's great. In fact, Ranjani, do you remember that we've heard when growing up that in your palette of Saptaswaras, every position of these swaras should be used in a concert, in the course of a concert.
Yeah, it's ideal to use as many
Apart
as
from
possible.
your anchor notes of a sa and pa, sari, ri, ga, ga, ma, ma, pa, da, da, ni, ni. So all these positions should be represented in a concert. Of course, putting together a concert list also depends on the duration of the concert. And the longer duration, the more opportunity you have to create variety and to select from different composers. Sometimes we have sung in concerts, Ranjani, in especially international venues, where your time itself is very short. It's like a 60-minute or 90 minutes, sometimes even 60 minutes. So what do you do? In 60 minutes, how much can you showcase the variety? So here, so every concert throws up a different challenge for you to do justice to the many components that our music is rich with, is replete with.
Absolutely. And overall, I think it's very important to have that right proportion and balance. Alavu, as our nama Piriva Childra Madri, alavoda paadnam. More than going in your own, journey about self-satisfaction, just, indulging yourself.
Self-satisfaction is important because it is out of a sense of genuine connection with your music that you're able to connect with others too. The music is which connects with you, connects the audience too. But self-indulgence is totally different from self-fulfillment. And unless you're singing a concert for meditation, unless it's a very concept-based concert, to go on a trip to keep on singing alapanas or swaras for every composition, or to select ragas or compositions of a certain same nature, again, these are all things that will add to monotony in a concert. And what we shared is probably our vision, which has been nurtured by influences, by listening to so many great musicians. We do hope that you would take back something from this, and that you will, when you listen to another concert that leaves an impact, you would be able to probably understand why it leaves such an impact.
So here we come to the fag end of this session, and we wish you many, many more happy concert listening.
And when you listen to another concert, I'm sure you will now try to understand why a certain concert left an impact on you. And you would probably look for the reasons, for the various factors that made up the concert list.
So thank you for joining us this session. See you
Next Monday.